Hello friends, what you just saw was a game that was developed in MS Excel. So this was just to show the programming capability that lies in MS Excel, which otherwise we normally use for storing the data and generating reports, creating graphs. This is what we have seen mostly the Excel is being used for, because by the name it's a spreadsheet, so we use that sheet in order to store the data and do the analysis, data analysis on that. So it has this capability of programming. So anybody who has an exposure to programming, or if he has done some kind of programming in any computer language where the structure flows, or the decision trees, those kind of constructs, if they're aware of, it's something for them. It's just revisiting those and then doing off its own. And also I tried my best in order to make this video for those guys who have used Excel and who've been using Excel extensively, or an average Excel user who has some flair in order to get to know more about VBA and its programming capabilities, as you see in this video. So they can actually learn more about this, and then they can use it in their own workplace as per their imaginations and the creativity. Okay, so what we can discuss is about the concept, the flow of this game, so that we get an idea about what logic that needs to be applied for this game. So we just have to be more simple about the logics that we're going to apply and do the coding. So I'm going to show you the live coding of this particular game, so that you can really get the feel of it. Yep. So let's understand the concept. Back to Infotain, I'm Vijay. So let's discuss about the elements and the concept of this game. The main part of this game, I would say, is the random generator. So that random number generator. So it's a function in computer. In fact, it's there in different forms or different function names in different languages of computers. So if you use Java, there's something else. If you use C, it's something else. Similarly, now in this also there is a concept of a random integer generator. So what it does is that if we give a seed of or if we tell computer to generate a random number between 0s to 6, as what we have done in this case, is that it's going to generate a number which we don't even know what it could be, because it is generated randomly out of the computer. So any number of times when you ask the computer to generate the number between a certain number, so then it will just pick a certain number of its own, so we wouldn't know which would be. So it would be nice to have this kind of a number to be utilized in something like this, or any other different kind of applications which you can use. So for example, if you want to bring a code of the day, so code of the day could be anything, right? So you can give that task to the computer to bring out a code of the day. So if you have 100 to 200 code of the day, you can always put a random generation out of those numbers, and then it can bring out the code of the day. So just another example. So what we're going to do here is that, as you can see, the elements that are required is you need two buttons. One is to make run these characters, and these characters are nothing but the rabbit, the tortoise, and the flag. They are all image objects. So there's a reset button. What we going to do is once anybody presses on that reset button, it will reset all the values to the point where you begin the game. So you make the rabbit dice score to 0, the tortoise dice score to 0, the result string to nothing, that means empty. And similarly, all the image objects you can shift back to the starting point, all that stuff. So that's what the reset does. So once you click on the dice run, what it does is that it runs a loop. A loop means something that you do over and over again, right? So in the loop, you will increment the position of the rabbit towards the so that it moves to the right side, so where you can actually increase the left position of the image. So actually what it does is that each time it actually increases the left position. So what is the number of times that it increases the left position is where this random that we're going to apply. So once you apply that random generation, so it generates the number and that much number that we're going to add to the left of it. So then what happens is either rabbit will win or a tortoise may win at one point of time, because this is going to be running in the loop. So as many times that this random generates the number, it all depends that how many times it generates the highest number for a particular character. So it's simple stuff. So there's nothing great about it. So you just so you have to run this until a target position. For example, here we used 800 pixel position of the image object. So whenever the image objects reaches to that 800 pixel position, and whoever comes first, so we are going to check with an if condition inside the loop, so that if it touches the 800 plus position, so that particular character wins, and then we'll move the flag towards that character position. So that position plus maybe another 50 pixels is what we are going to move. So the flag position, we have to move the top position and as well as the left position, so that it moves to the character, near to the character. So it shows as if as you have already seen the demo, so the flag moves to the person who wins it, right? So these are the elements. So let's see the code in order to get this game in action. Open a worksheet just like any other worksheet that you open, and then go to the file options and to the customize ribbon. As you can see, the developer tab or the developer options, which is not checked in. So now you will see that the developer options are available, which is actually all that is required for the macros or the VBA coding. So here in this case we need two buttons first. So let's click on insert and that button, and you can draw the button to whatever the size that you want. And for now, just don't do anything, just say OK, and then just change the label of the button to dice run. Then let's have another button as for the reset. So we'll just say OK. So we'll come to the new when we assign that macro to it, so the code, right? So we'll come to that. So let's change the label to reset. So these two buttons are ready. So let's put more elements as we discussed. So we need the images. So what I did is I downloaded those images from the net, from a non-copyright site. So these with white background. So I'm going to add those pictures. So you can either select one by one, or you can select all of them together, and then you can actually separate them. So there's a tortoise, got rabbit, we got the flag. So we can resize them to a smaller size, and you can put it to this one start place. So as I know that this place might be from the pixel point of view somewhere 300 or something. In case if it is not, then we have to adjust wherever that you want to start. So I'm trying to use a 300 place. You can actually choose whatever place you want to start. So let's see. So we'll resize the flag as well and put a line somewhere in between of these two, and then the finishing line, putting it at the R column, which will approximately be around 800 pixel point when the image starts getting nearer, right? So then that's something 800 is approximately is what I think so. So let's change the name of the picture to rabbit. Click on the picture and then you can actually change the right top corner and the left top corner, sorry. Change the name of each of those to here, for instance, rabbit, torturer, and flag. So these names we are going to refer in the program as well. So we'll put rabbit die score, and then torturer die score, and now you can note the place. This scores are going to be in H2 and H3 column. So you need to keep updating those values, values into that column. So result is in K2. So I've taken 3 places to make it yellow so that the text will run on. So now let's write a code for the reset, which should be simple. I just wanted to reset everything to the place where it starts. So then it is already at that place. So let's see what we need to be applied. So we need to declare some variable. For example, dim is nothing but declaring in memory R as shape, that is for rabbit, T as shape, that is for tortoise, and F for the flag. And now let's assign those shapes from the sheet 1 shapes, and then you can use that name which we have given. So it's rabbit, so it assigns that R as, so it becomes easier for us to change those properties of those shapes. So all what we require is to change the left and top position so that it looks like as if it's moving, right? So for that reason, so you can note how I'm accessing the shapes using sheet 1, because that's the name of the sheet, as you can see in the worksheet. So if you use some other name, so then you have to use that name. So if it's a sheet 1 shapes, you can say that, and you can otherwise you can use the sheet name as well. R.left, I'm going to assign this as 300. So it will, wherever, if it is, suppose if you have run the game, wherever the image is, so it will try to position back to 300 as the left position for the thing. And as well as the flag, we are putting it as left equals to 900, so that's the place that it is right now. And top is also somewhere it is 84. So once we run this, we will come to know where the place is. So accordingly we can actually adjust the values. So let's see. Now in fact these two, or these also requires to be reset. Why? Because once you reset, these values also to be reset. So these score values also needs to be reset. So again, I'm accessing using a function in the sheet 1 called range, within which you can mention the cell address. So K2 dot value as nothing. or you can say empty. So if somebody won, so then if I reset it, so everything should reset and then it should make the text as nothing. I can also use in the range if I wanted to like H2 and H3 together, I can use in order to set a value called 0. So 0 will be set for both the cells. So that's what we wanted. So let's see, by manually changing those objects here and there, just to I'm using the arrow keys so that it doesn't change the arrangement of the top position as far as rabbit and tortoise is concerned. In the result, I'm just putting some junk value, just to show some values are there and whether the reset is working. Yep. So now if I click on it, as you can see, these two images actually going on top of those buttons. So let's move it a little further. So 300 is where the buttons are appearing. So I think we can make it to 350 or something, or maybe let's see 400. If it's a little far away, then we have to decrease it. Let's see. Okay, so it's moved a little farther, so then we'll bring it. So I think 350 should be fine. So let's change it to 350, both of them. So it's 350. So let's reset. Yep. So I think this should be fine. I mean, now this one looks like as if moving around, so you can actually resize it accordingly. So that would be enough. So you need not have to change anything else. So I think we are good as far as reset is concerned. So everything is fine. So now we have to write the major part code, which is dice farm. So before that, let's save this so that our work is saved, and you select the folder, putting into the dice.run folder itself. One thing you should understand is that it's not a normal .xlsx file, since it contains the macros. So you need to select .xlsm, so which means macro enabled Excel sheet. So you have to save it in that format, and once you open it, also you need to actually click on the enable content, which will appear on the address bar. So I think let's write the code for dice run. So this is how we assign when we say new. So it says what code to be put in there. So now if you see this all declaration, I have to do it again if in this code. So rather than that, I can use that code or copy that code in declarations as such, so which is like a global declaration, so I need not have to declare it again and again in different functions. So what I need to copy is to set these again, so which I will do it again. So it's set to those objects, and then whatever that we want to do with this part of the logic, it's all set. These objects are set. So now so let's I think where we have to declare one more variable. That's before that, let's declare the label. So this is called as a label. So when I say x colon, it's a declaration of the label. It's nothing but it's a point where you can always say that go to that particular point or go to x, which means that after doing a certain number of tasks, it will come back. So that's how the loop is created. So VBA.do events, after that I'm going to use it, and this particular command is used in order to start something on a thread. So if you would have heard something like multi-threading, so then it does this task by handing over to the operating system until a particular statement or until a particular condition is met with. So I'm declaring target, I'm declaring the rabbit's left position and the tortoise left position as integers. So target, I'm assigning a value of 800 so that we can check the target every time. You can, by static also you can check with 800, because keeping a variable always have an advantage is that you just need to change the value there. So everywhere in the code you may not have to change. So so I'm taking here the value of r left and t left, which is like rabbit's left and tortoise left, into a variable called rl and tln, where we are going to add the random. So here is the random functions explanation, as in the Google when I see it. If you have to generate the number between it, so you need to use something, because it comes, so it returns a decimal value, so you need to convert it to an integer. So that's why that int function, and within which you have to change the values according to your need here. Now what so in the RL, which is the left of the rabbit's position, I'm going to change it from, so the upper value that we are going to use is 6 and the lower value we are going to use is 0, and this formula can be applied. So as you can see, upper limit is 0 and the upper limit is 6 and this lower limit is 0, and this particular formula is going to generate a value between 0 to 6. So it's like a dice. So as like now how you roll a dice, so anything can come in. So see, it's a similar thing. So we will use the same formula to generate a number for a tortoise left position. So what happens is, whatever the number that comes in, we are going to add it with the left position which is currently there in that. So I think this is a random number, so I'm going to declare one more variable called RDM. I think that would be better rather than, so I would add it to the RL, and then that RL can be just set to the left. So you will see that. So in fact these two variables are different, so every time a new random value that will come in. So let's see, we'll do a simple test here just to see what is the number that is getting generated. I mean both the values. So message box is a function where you can actually, when you use it, it throws out a small window with an OK button. It's like it's not a prompt, it's a prompt, but it doesn't ask you for an input except for pressing an OK button. That's it. There are other forms of message box where you can actually put in inputs as well. So this could be a very, very handy for certain applications where you need some inputs from the user. You can use it, but otherwise, as there are other options as well. So for the time being, I'm commenting out. Commenting out means it's not going to run those two X and VBA domains for the time being. We just wanted to see what it actually generating. So as you can see, rabbit dice is 4 and this is 3. So again, when you see again 4 and 2, then 2, 5. So just wanted to make sure, see, one is 0, so that is fine. So in case if it get a 0 also, that's fine. So we said 0 to 5. So 0 to 5, between which any number that will be generated. So these numbers, we are going to add it with their positions. So what happens is, based on that, it will look like as if moving slow or somebody is moving faster. So that's what we want. So I think that's fine. So we'll just remove this message box. So now I'll uncomment these so that this will work. And now I know what to do is that, these random numbers are already generated. So what I'll do is I will add with the left position, which the value already there in the RL and TL. So I'm going to add these random values there, and then I will change the left positions of these objects. So which is like R dot left and T dot left with these numbers. So RL and TL. So just to make it readable, right? So it's all those variable names accordingly. So now you see a statement called go to X. So this is where the loop goes back to the X, and again it executes VBA.doEvents, and that does the random again, and then changes the left and all the stuff. But at this point of time, if you look at this code, this is going to go in infinite loop. So this is not something we want. This code has to end if any of these values of the RL and the TL reaches to the target. So I will use a if condition here. I will say if RL is greater than target or TL is greater than target, then actually we need to come out of this by doing certain tasks, because we need to determine who actually won. If anyone reaches, so we need to know who has come in. So this is I'm going to say if somebody reaches, any one of them reaches, so just exit sub. So let's at least test this part of it, and then we'll come back. So it works. So as you can see, it's going on. So our target of 800 is somebody is reaching there, but at this point of time we have not kind of done things to show that. So now let's determine. So these scores, while they are moving, so these scores needs to be also updated, right? And I think once you change the left position, you need to actually also show what value it is right now. So what I'm doing is I'm changing the value to RL and TL. So it will tell me where the rabbit and where the tortoise are in terms of the number of their left position. So H2, H3, and then I'm going to change this to so need to check if the RL, so that's R left, if it is anywhere greater than the TL, which means like we need to do a comparison between the rabbit's left position and the tortoise left position, which is the greater. So that's the condition we need to check. And if suppose if it's the rabbit left position that is greater than TL after reaching to the target, so which means the rabbit has won. So we need to change the the value of the K2 field is rabbit1. In fact, you can use range K2 equals to rabbit1 or range K2 dot value also. So in both works. So I will again check if suppose if RL wasn't greater than TL, I could have used an else here, but I'm directly using if so that it just looks a little simple. So I'm checking in case if RL is not greater than TL. So I would say if I would check if TL is greater than RL, because if it's gone into the first if, so it will definitely be a false in the second if. But otherwise, checking if the tortoise has 1. So then in that case, I will make the tortoise. So it's a simple logic. It may be possible that they both may reach to the finish line together. Now, I'm not ruling out that situation as well, so we can put that condition also, where if TL equals to RL, we need to see if by doing some testing to that situation, because this random generation is not in our control. It's all generated by the computer, right? So we'll put that option checked as well. You can say both finished equal, or you can say both are equal. Okay, and after that exit sub command, which is already there. So once it gets into the bigger if condition, so it comes out of the function or the subroutine. So that's what. So that exit sub is a very important command there, because otherwise the loop will be in endless state. So let's see. Okay, there's an error. Okay, so the error is, as you can see, I think it's a syntax error. So as you can see, there's a range command, and so I'll just type it again, range. So when you press an enter, so it doesn't look like a command itself. So as you can see, there's, instead of dot, it was a comma. So it's a typo. Okay, so I think we are okay. Yep. So as you can see, 804, which is rabbit, and 793. So 800 crossed by rabbit again. Just wanted to see if something different. Well, this time is torture, but you can see it was very close. So now what happens is, once whoever wins in this particular flag needs to be coming closer, right, to that character. So let's do that. So this happens when somebody wins, right? So So what we need to do is the flat top should be of the same top what rabbit has. If the this is rabbit, right? So we'll say R top. So what happens is it's at the same height, from the top. But the left is, you cannot have the same left. Why? Because otherwise it will superimpose on top of it. So then we need to actually add some pixels to it so that it shows a little away. So let's see, we'll add 50. So what happens is whatever the left of the image, if it is rabbit, then it will add 50 more to the left of it. So then it will show a little away. But at the same time it should be after the finish line. So let's see if it is. Otherwise we can adjust the numbers. So it's the same case for torture. So let's see if that happens. Yeah, so I think that's fine. Okay, so this time goes right. So I think, yeah, the main part of the game is done. So I'll remove the grid lines from view, grid lines, uncheck the box. Now we'll just put the heading of the game. We'll say dice run of rabbit and torture. So we'll choose a good font. I mean, maybe some gaming stuff font. So let's see. So as you can see, the VBA scripting is powerful feature that's there in Excel, so you can use that. Not only that, so what we have seen is just the tip of the iceberg. So there's a lot more things that you can do. For example, user forms is one of the very unique stuff that you have, just like how the coding that was done in Visual Basic earlier. So you can have the user forms where you can have a lot of elements, objects you can bring in there. So you can use them as a true graphical user interface, and will give a very rich look, just like a Windows standalone application. And moreover, this can also help, these user forms can also help in order to do some data entry. Rather than entering directly into the MS Excel, you can actually bring in onto the user forms, and then you can have it in multiple tabs or something, in case if you're running with huge number of columns, and going back and forth with freeze and unfreeze options in Excel would be a little cumbersome. So you can actually create a very good data entry forms in there. And also you can do a lot more improvised complex validations there on the fields, which otherwise either be very cumbersome or may not be possible otherwise, those kind of validations. So similarly, you can do a lot of data analysis in a very flexible way, and also you can actually integrate with some other databases, like external databases like MS Access or even MySQL sitting on somewhere else. So then you can actually grab it. So in fact, you can even think of creating some multi-user kind of applications. So that is also possible. It all depends on how much we explore in those areas. So those are all possible. So you can actually create a very web-like kind of applications as well. So it all depends on your imaginations and the creativity that can go to a certain extent. So I'll try creating some more couple of videos on dealing with data, like user management, and even which means like incorporating some user login stuff and all those things. And then I would also like to mention that there are already a lot of VBA introductory videos that they're available in the YouTube. So rather that I thought not to duplicate the videos again, you guys can go through that. I can give you a lot of basic information or the basics of the VBA. So once you have that, probably we can start a journey from from the place where I assume that certain basics, and then do something unique stuff so that we can discuss about that. So we'll see what more that we can discuss on this VBA as such. So bye for now. Keep in touch, keep subscribing, and so that you get to know about the newer videos that comes in.